Okay. Let's double check. We're live. Wait, the real thing. Okay. Stream. Microphone is not muted. Microphone's not muted. Alright. There we go. Okay. Well then. Ooh. Get that music going. I realized I should have started this from the main menu, like I do with some of my other games, but I forgot. But doing some more Apollo Justice tonight, because I've been thinking about this for so long, but I wanted to wait to stream it again, especially because I wanted to make sure I also put my time into Your Turn to Die, but also because I've been playing the Suicide Squad game, which wasn't really worth the money for the pre-order, but I'm having a fun time, even though I don't even know if it would have been worth $70, but it's still a fun game, better than Gotham Knights. But for now, Apollo Justice, and we are in that little recess period. We're gonna get to the bottom of this in this trial, I think, because normally how the first trials go is it's always just supposed to be a one-day thing, so I'm sure we'll figure it out. But let's go. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright, to suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well now, I think you would know the answer to that. Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. See, you haven't mellowed out one bit, Kristoff. Justice. Oh, I thought he was just saying justice. Gods. At least with Wright, it was like in a way that's like differentiating, but justice is just justice. Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. It's a picture of my daughter in there. She's a magician. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of those days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did? It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never, honest, but it is odd he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Huh? See, poker's all about reading your opponent. That way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like a trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you win. Well, yeah, that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Your body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding. That witness, for instance, Miss Orley, she would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who'd notice that? Words, habits, twitches, it's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me. Now, pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? Just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will, soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should know. I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. My, power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best.
Okay. I will. To be continued. Oh. Well, maybe I should have ended the stream then. But guess what? I didn't know that was going to happen. So we'll save. We'll save. And then we'll start in the courtroom. Yes! I didn't know I finished the chapter. Okay. Okay, we're back in it. We're back in it. Court will now reconvene. As your witness, Miss Olga Orley recovered.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, she's regained consciousness. Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again. That's the thing. You see, she's quite fatigued.
You're looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne.
Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. The defense would like to request that Miss Orley take the stand.
Very well. Witness will take the stand. Yeah.
She's back. Okay, I guess we gotta look for these tells now. Perhaps you can repeat your name and profession. Perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar and a poor loser. Not. I feel like I have to change her accent now because she's like, oh, I poor Russian woman, I am nothing, I just serve borscht. And now, name's Olga Orley. The truth is, that's the truth, I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quick Fingers Orley.
Ah, really?
Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian. And my last name sounds like, oh, really? There, that's the truth. I hope you're satisfied. Witness, you will tell the court what you were really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see?
Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences.
Fine. Who is this lady? She's got a camera. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. He's planted in the Borscht Boat Club several days prior to the night of the game, as a waitress. So you're in cahoots with the victim. Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles, but winning wasn't the main purpose of this game. It's about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of the games. When the hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card, and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards. Exposed as a cheetah and losing on top of it, it would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces.
Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at cheating would cash out on his prior wins.
7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan. Oh really? Orly? Oh really? Oh really? Oh really? How droll. But it appears you made quite the mistake.
Mistake?
I agree the trap was elegant. Yet, what happened to that planted card? Hey, that's right. He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be to slip free from the trap laid by Olga Quick Fingers O'Reilly.
Oh, really? Witness would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind shtick.
Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad.
Okay. When you're through being bad, perhaps that you could testify to the court. Tell us about this trap. Now it's sprung.
Witness testimony. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Next moment, Wright picked up the bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith. It was that no good, cheating defendant. I think I saw her tell there.
Surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves most of us mostly in the dark. I did a large extra words.
The trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect. If that rotten cheetah hadn't messed it up. Look who's talking.
Well, the testimony, for what it's worth, is all yours, Mr. Justice.
Witness like her, who needs criminals? With defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors? Okay. We know where her tell is, and if you don't, I'll show you. So yeah, she's like normal. She looks at camera. She's like, hey, ain't that pretty smooth? But then, look at him. What a weirdo. But this is weird. Because everything else is pretty confident. You see, like, she's got those, like, looks on her. She's confident. Even when she's this way. Like, confident. She's good. She's got this demeanor to her that's very confident. But there's just, like, one that's out of place. I forgot I could... So we're gonna press on that just to see if we can get more out of it. Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and found nothing, which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well, what the fuck? What was that? That's what I'm saying! What was that just now? I sensed something.
Something wrong, Mr. Justice?
No, nothing, Your Honor. What to do? Should I press her a little harder? Yeah. Cirilli, you're hiding something. What are you talking about? You... Me? Quick fingers? Oh, really? Hi. The defense will refrain from baseless accusations. I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Wright hit him. With my own eyes. I saw it. It's this weird vibe I'm getting. That witness, for instance, Miss O'Reilly, she would touch the back of her neck during the certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Touching her neck, was it? So dramatic. What is going on? Whoa, that's what I'm saying! Yo, we're twins. Halloween, dressing up as Apollo Justice. I got so many months. I'm gonna show up dressed as Apollo Justice. Be like, I am Justice. Okay. Whoa, what's going on? The sensation. It's coming into focus. There, that twitch. It's so clear. It's like I could perceive her habit. Like I couldn't before.
Gotcha!
What are we doing? So really, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. Unaware of what? Whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? So what? What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of her the testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory and touches her neck. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about?
This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. Claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us.
habit of scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So what would remind her most of the moment of the crime? So really, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I notice it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. Should we say it again, like 5 more times? I think maybe we should, like, make sure everyone knows that she touches the back of the neck every time she thinks of the moment of the crime. Which means if she's thinking of the moment of the crime, she's touching the back of her neck. I really hope they say it again. Should be some reason behind this happening, yours. I believe the weapon that left that inerasable impression on your neck is this. Like, there's nothing else, right? Like, it has to be the bottle. Like, there's nothing else it would be. It would only be the bottle. Like, I would say so. I'm also thinking it could be cell phone only because of, like, it's taped. And I think we figured. Yeah, like, the tape thing is suspect, but also, like, I don't know. Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, let's go. She touches her neck. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. What reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon? But something doesn't fit. If you were only witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck in pain, like you're in pain? What's he talking about now? It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits, they're completely irrelevant. Justice, I'll admit, I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later. Just trust me. Now's our only chance to break her. Mrs. O'Reilly, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime. The very moment. Yet, I am knowing nothing. We know you're not Russian. The witness will testify. Please, now. Bah, fine. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there. Wait, okay.
Hold it!
You're hiding something, and that habit of yours proves it. Ha, ludicrous. I'm not hiding anything. You touch your neck again. It's no use trying to hide it. I can see right through you. Did this statement change? I think this one did. Seem uneasy. Try standing up here. Her eyes are darting all over the place. I must be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like? Well, must have been stunned by the weight of his crime. He sat in a daze at the table until the cops came. Intriguing. I believe you've gotten all the testimony you're going to get out of this witness. So what do you think about her testimony? I'll tell you what I think. Testimony is... flawed, yeah? It's basically bogus. Contradicts the evidence. But what's that? Well, show us this evidence, Mr. Justice. The evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony. She didn't let him out of her sight until the cops got there. I know there's some evidence that contradicts that. Yeah, because, like, if we look at this, it just says that. But this says used by the defendant to notify the police from the restaurant's first floor. Mr. Really, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. Oh. She freaked. The man who picked up that bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant. Ooh, we're going back to the room. Also, yo, if that light was seriously swinging like that the entire time, they gotta fix it. Like, that's spooky as hell. Showdown time. You dirty cheat. Check his pockets now. It's gone. The card's gone. You lose. What? Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle next to Wright, and he hit me. You, some master cheating you turned out to be. Eek. Wow, all this eeking and arguing. When I came to, the victim was already dead. Is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. Well, where does this leave us? Madness. This is madness. I'm dreaming. Must have been me who was hit with a bottle, and I'm imagining all of this. P.S. Our prosecution is at his wit's end. Frankly, I cannot blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin? Sir? I believe that as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss Aurelia a big fat liar. What? Three were in the room the night of the murder, the defendant, victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive? Her plot foiled. The witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouement of that argument was a murder. What? I didn't. I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. So tangled we catch ourselves in the process. But Mr. Wright, such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder. The one who swapped the card didn't know two colors of cards were being used. A fourth person. Ha! This theory again? Your fourth person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. Perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. Right at the beginning of the trial, no less. What? Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about? Sorry. Remember what I said. The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the colors on the backs of the card. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? Cards used for the last game were red. Yet, there's one person here in our court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too. But why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was? It's not me, I swear. Where's this fourth person? Why do I always get put on the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue? Oh, and now we get to present someone. Was it Christoph Gavin? Was it Phoenix Wright? Was it Shady Smith? Was it Winston Payne? Or was it Olga or really? Well, I think it's obvious if we remember from the beginning, if anyone watched the first episode or the first stream. Christoph is the one that stated cards wreathed in blue flames. He was very
poetic about it. Something you don't necessarily forget. So, as I expected, your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. I was right? Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. But of course Mr. Gavin knows the color of the card. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor, or the table. But look! You can see the colors in this photo. Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before the evidence came to light. It's true the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. It was only that, a game in the pure sense, a competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, the backs wreathed in blue flame, knew its final outcome. Or no. Well, Christoph? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin, is something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me, it was just so sudden. Right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Christoph? You know, even I'd never take a joke this far. This has gone beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is an insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder? I assure you, I'm quite sane. But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim here I've never even met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There's a possibility, after all. They may have met that night, before the game started. What are you suggesting? Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify... The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defense believes that Mrs. O'Reilly... Am I to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Oh, okay. Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Actually, you know what? No. You know what? I think we're good. This surely won't end badly. No, yes, we need to hear the testimony. This was Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along. I need to see it through. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. Me too, Justice? You would betray me, your teacher? Sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth. Very well, the defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand, please. Witness testimony. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. What? Wild. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club the night of the murder? I dined with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder. Quite against my will, I had become involved in the murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice.
Sir, he's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? Because this is Ace Attorney. Okay. I wasn't paying attention to his tells. Okay. Smith walked in 5 minutes. Girl was knocked out. Okay, I think these are a bit sus. Because he's looking down. About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Ogo really mentioned. Plan was simple. Elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand. And then deal 5 aces during one of the games. Then the hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. Use what the cards. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It's by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it. A quirk? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found the card. The card she planted. Yeah, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There's an empty bottle of grape juice I'd been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. Empty bottle of grape juice? The murder weapon? Yeah, rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see. Battle of which between the deceiver and the would-be deceived? Sounds like a terrific drama. Card inside a murder weapon. That's strange. Did the police miss in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. I mean, it's not in there, right? I feel like I looked at it before. Yeah, there's nothing in there. Like, we do this, the bottle's completely empty. Yeah. Then we do this. And it's grape juice! Apparently, Miss Wright's favorite drink. I wonder if it goes well with burst. Okay. Mr. Wright, the poker head of courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with this new information. We gotta present this, right? Objection! Like, it's right there in our faces. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yeah? I've examined the bottle and I don't see any card in here. No? What, Mr. Wright, surely isn't all you have to say for yourself. Can't say I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Huh? Perhaps a 5th person came and took it out. Oh, and a 6th person could have helped. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client. My apologies, Your Honor. I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside that bottle. There was nothing. So what's going on? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Did the cart just disappear? In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh. Push him harder, Justice. Break him. Just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Oh, why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? Okay. Okay. So he's still sus about this. There's something about this that's weird. Right. You made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at that time? Not a soul. It's the middle of the night after all. So there in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. Didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. There's something here But, like, what? Is there 5 of hearts? Do I need to use the phone? And when you returned, the victim was already dead. Yes. I admit, I was a little startled when I walked in. A little. He's bleeding from his forehead, after all. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked into a scene like that. Okay. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yes, he dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner at our usual spot, as usual. I always eat at the table closest to the piano. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting? So the plates and such on the table were from your dinner? Indeed. The remnants of my meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours, then Christoph left. After that... Okay. Scoozy. 5 minutes? So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time? That would have been a fateful encounter, to be sure. Oh, Mr. Wright. What was it you said? Christoph Gavin and Shady Smith may have met? I believe I did say that. Yeah, I was nervous about this meeting. And now we hear they just passed in the hall?
It does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder.
Oh, it would be, if that were all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? Okay. I'm gonna press this dude just in case before I do anything stupid. Could you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? It's obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair. I figured Christoph's law offices would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Christoph. It was I who got you involved, after all. You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. Is this the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about? Justice, you know what you have to do. He's lying. Expose him. Now. Yes, sir. Think, what's Mr. Wright trying to tell me with his testimony? Truth has to be in there somewhere. Okay. So, if I'm right about following tells, I left to call the police. I don't think that's why he left.
Objection!
Your Honor, what do you think about the...
I'm not sure I follow you.
Clearly, it contradicts the... I thought...
Don't sound very sure, Mr. Justice. Objection overruled.
Don't think that won me any points with the judge. Like, there's something about this statement, right? Like, he's doing the shady thing, because this shading thing is gone. He's telling the truth here. Or like... Smith Borscht Bowl. I'm trying to double check if I can see any like suspect things here. But like, can we take this off? Wait. Why in the bottle? Perceive my opponent's intent immediately. I'm used to entrapment, you see. I knew I was coming.
Oh, shock fish. I like that.
Know every trick in the book. They don't work on me. At least when you get lucky and stick your hand in your pocket, they don't. Okay. Because he is sketchy about this, and Smith was uncontrollable. So I left to call the police. Like, I feel... Turned he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. Wait. We can't confirm this, can we? Defendant and Mr. Smith at Portugal Club. Sub-basement. Wait. No, damn it. What are we missing? What are we missing? I don't know if I'm focusing too hard on his, like, weird little thing right here. The girl was knocked out cold. Like, I feel like... Made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Anyone else? Not a soul. It's the middle of the night after all. Called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. Didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. What am I missing? There's something about this. Like, right? Or am I focusing on the wrong thing? I'm seriously like, I'm gonna save here just in case, I do something fucking stupid, which I might, cause I literally am looking at this, and I feel like I'm overthinking it again. I always do this. Like, do I? Because, like, the only other thing is, like, I take out the phone and I present it here, but I feel like that doesn't make sense. Here. But then here, like, when I turned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. Girl, like, he's doing his weird tell. A girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. But, like... I don't know. Okay. Blue is so not red, you know? Card backs are red? For some reason, I thought they were using blue backed cards in the final hand. Is that it? That's all I had to say. That was helpful. Okay, can't move fingers around on that one. I'm just double checking. I didn't miss any, like... Nothing's lighting up. That already did it. That's fine too. Like... What are we missing here? What are we missing here? Look into it. Like... I am...
my brain is trying to go into overdrive, thinking about how... But again, I think I'm focusing on the wrong statement. Because, like, I use the evidence here. My only other thing is maybe guessing he put it in the phone. But, like, I don't know how that would make sense if he swore he put it in the bottle. I'm gonna do something stupid. This is probably gonna be wrong.
Objection!
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm thinking too far ahead, and now I don't know what I'm doing. I think I just need to go back to truth, justice. You know, he's lying. Expose him now. What is Mr. Wright trying to tell me? The truth has to be in there somewhere. It is. J. Smith walked in 5 minutes after Kristoff left. I discovered the trap. Girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. But when? I already used the phone for this, didn't I? I don't know what I'm missing. Present. Can we skip through this? I don't know. I don't know. I'm so confused. Like, he's being weird about this. I already presented that, right? I did. Okay, you know what? None of this is making sense.
Objection!
I don't know what's going on here. Let's load. Like, what am I missing? What am I missing? I hate stuff like this because I feel like if I look it up, it's going to be like the most obvious thing, but like I'm getting thrown off by Phoenix saying other shit. Is it like one of these things where I gotta be like,
Objection!
no, okay. Penalize me. I don't care. I don't understand what's going on anymore. Like, this is sus. But he, like, does that stuff in other things. I'm gonna do it, cause, like, I'm so, like, lost. And, like, sometimes Ace Attorney has these things where it's literally, like, stuff happens and, like, it doesn't make sense. Okay. Says. Okay. Oh. this fucking thing after the other one threw me off because I'm trying to find his tail and I shouldn't. Apparently, it's this. I don't like looking up guides, but it's like... I don't know. Like, one would think maybe Phoenix would know that. So you're not going to think, oh, well, how did you know he was bleeding from the head? Because he was wearing his hat. It's like, maybe his hat wasn't fucking on. I don't know. Like, I think that's stupid. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes? Take a look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point. Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put the hat on his head. Eh? You? You put the hat on the dead man's head? Wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view. Shining bright, just like this photograph. Okay, so maybe it was like a thing, and it's like, but I was doing this, and then she's like, oh, no. I mean, yeah. And picked his hat up off the floor and put it on his head. Well, why'd you do a thing like that? All I can say is, I'm sorry. That's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Mrs. O really didn't see it? It being the victim's, his head? I think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Gavin? Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin. This witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Huh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. When I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, recall that I spoke with defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. The gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? Turned out to be dead. Someone hit him, hard. Means someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? It wasn't you, was it? Me, please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands, should it come to that. Bone china plate. Kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny. Not a plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. Court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Wait a second. Something's not right about this phone call. So after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club. Most certainly. Then, how did he know? When did he see this bone china plate? Oh, that's right. Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. When I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin
The stage had been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court. Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it, Phoenix Wright?
Order! I will have order! Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor.
This court has been left with no other choice. Prepared to hear the defense attorney Gavin's testimony.
Well, as the prosecutor,
Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes, to which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for cross-examination. Are we all clear on that?
Crystal clear, Your Honor.
Very well. Should be the final recess for the day.
Okay, 2 recesses and 1 thing? Crazy! Oh, we in it. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Who'd have thought today would turn out like this? May I? I don't know what this is. Huh? What? Hello, sir. Please, pick a card. What's all this about? Is this one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely, and the game is yours. That's all. An ace. Where do I remember that card from? Mr. Smith's hands had 3 aces. Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. It is true, I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. The missing 5th ace. Wait, the splotch of red. Is this blood? You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it.
Why's he got some funky ass daughter? Like, she is not, like, Phoenix Wright is a weird dude, but that is not the daughter I expect him to have. She's like, I'm a magician, or looking like she's got top hat. She's looking like Hat in Time. It's just like one of those things, and it's just like, why? Such a strange character choice. But then again, the helper girls in these games turn out to be magical girls most of the time.
This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl, I'd seen her recently, but where? It's when I made the connection.
Yeah. Wait, but that's pink, not blue. Did she have a change of clothing at some point? Like, did she's like, oh, I'm not feeling pink anymore, I'm feeling blue. Dabba dee, dabba die, dabba dee, dabba. Bloody ace received from mysterious girl. Could this be the missing 5th ace? I want to check the quote record first. Okay. Can we examine this? No clues here. I mean, I would say it's a clue, but...
A single drop of blood marks the front of the card.
That will be important somewhere. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, Mr. The witness state his name and occupation.
Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat?
By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald.
I mean, Okay. I love that. Forgive my curiosity, but what about... what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Objection!
I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright?
What do you think you're doing, Wright?
Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit.
Whoa!
Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime. The hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, he would have had to have been there in the hideout at the time of the crime.
In other words, I must be the real killer. Is what you're trying to say?
Not bad, Apollo.
Mr. Gavin, I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court.
What?
Oh, I assured you I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of the fateful night? Blah, blah, blah. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. Must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead as he appeared in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright, holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. Then the call came from Wright.
So you witnessed the murder?
For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all.
So you are, Mr. Gavin. You had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through the window. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through the little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity, right, Apollo? Oh.
Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared?
Yes, Your Honor. Can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. Golly. Okay.
Okay, trouble. I want to see. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little windows of the hideout. It's been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as you see. Conscious girl and Wright holding the bottle. That's when the call came from Mr. Wright. I'm ED, but I want to do this. Okay.
The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch by the stairs?
Yes, a relic of ancient past, and the black marketeers used it, I believe.
Why did you go through the trouble of peeking through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room?
I didn't want to upset Wright, you see.
Upset Mr. Wright?
Yes, but if my fears had been unfounded, I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least.
So far, everything he's saying makes sense. Chris. Those were the only three at the scene of the crime?
Yes, as far as I saw at least.
Then we're back where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But Why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moments of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend right. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Just as I just said, I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah, yes, the mysterious 4th person. Who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question, then. Tell me. What possible reason did the real killer have to swap the cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary. Can I show something? I can't find it myself. Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. 5th ace, right.
Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out the card has been raised. Can you point to a reason?
Yes. It's now or never. Defendant would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out.
Go ahead and point out the reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace?
Oop, I should have saved. I can't do it now, right? Nope, I can't.
Take that!
My reason is, this. Okay. Can I? No! I wanted to save just because I realize I'm still lower health than I thought. Is that an ace?
Why, it's got blood on it. Right next to the spade.
What? This is insane. Why wasn't I told about this? Why?
Could this be that missing 5th ace?
Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Oh, well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Bowl Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are stock and trade after all. No, impossible. Unacceptable. The courts can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? What? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for? For the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime.
Where are you going with this?
Take another look at the photo, and the victim's head. The moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down to the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood fallen on one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question.
But what are you talking about?
Wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. Now I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see.
Objection!
This is baseless conjecture, baseless.
Objection!
Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. On God. No cap. What? It's amazing, really, how a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Whoa! 3D room. Murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped the card out, There was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there's one decisive problem with this scene.
Well, what is it?
Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card, while positioned in this diagram, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? Victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? His position doesn't fit with the bloody card. Would it be the victim?
Take that!
Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem?
I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice.
Well, look, the victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair. You'd think any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him.
Ah!
Take a look at this photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall onto the floor, not onto the cards.
Why, that's right. So what does this mean?
Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh man. Paulo, try turning the chair around. What?
Chair was facing the other way?
It would have to be. Oh my god! There's a closet?
Victim's chair was facing...
The victim's chair was facing away from the table. Let me go through my cycle of voices.
When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing?
When I came back to the room, the body was facing a scene in the photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know now that the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Paulo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? Victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Whose location creates a contradiction if the victim was facing away? The killer then, right?
Take that!
Right? Victim was struck from the front, of course, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front, sitting where the indicator currently is? I think it'd be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall, in the middle of a game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? Something in the diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again in the diagram. Paulo, if the victim was struck where he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking it on the diagram. What? But there's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing toward the wall at the time of the crime. It's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim from the front? Right here. Killer had to be standing, well, here. You get points for flair, but that's all you'll get. I thought I was onto something there. I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. Victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above? Ha! Simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know. The moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there.
What's this now?
I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. Should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately.
Bailiff, send the team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard.
Your Honor?
What?
There's one more thing your men should look for. Please, give this to the bailiff.
Yes, I see. You belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright.
I do my best. Let's forge ahead here. While we wait, look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. The killer was standing here at the time of the crime, and this cupboard wasn't here, which means, Apollo, try moving the cupboard. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. The time of the murder has been as shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my. What's this?
What is it now?
Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. Appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Uh-huh. Oh, dang. Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion.
Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is the victim the killer, the witness, the second witness? Which indicator in this diagram contradicts what we know about the crime?
Isn't it obvious? Second witness. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs.
Ah!
That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What? What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. Someone was. While the window in that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court. Exactly. Where did you witness the crime scene from?
Excuse me, Your Honor. Order, this is a court of law and I will have order.
We just now received word from our investigative team at the Borscht Bowl Club. They've examined the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor.
Oh? What did they find?
Well, Your Honor, turns out there's a secret passage behind it.
What?
Yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. It's one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. Do I remember him saying something about that? Now that he mentions it, secret passage is handy when you have thing to have when you engage in illegal goings-on. Never knowing when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage? Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops. Enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. Everyone's so quiet. Wonder why that is. See where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. The time of the murder, the window was blocked, the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder. Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops? In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on. Say something.
Dare I ask what really happened that night?
Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with Destiny. Where he crouched hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard. Holding his breath. Waiting for the right moment. Then the chance came. And he took it. Og. Eek. Why did you do that? Wait here, I'll get help. Olga O'Reilly was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look and... After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy evidence. A single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor, and the fact that they were all red. I do want to say, compared to, like, I think the first Ace Attorney trilogy, I feel like the art looks better in this one. Because it was all pixely, but, like, the art for this, I don't know, it feels nicer, I think. Wait. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin.
Mr. Payne.
Yeah? Yes, Your Honor.
Prosecution will continue its investigation from Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant. He's hereby declared of all suspicion.
Gah!
Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately.
Objection!
Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin. Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such low-grade parlor trick.
Excuse me?
The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. Not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney.
Illegal evidence?
Objection!
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin, is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course, this bottle, for instance. Bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? Not just any fingerprints, am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why you would hold the bottle upside down. That is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor. I see how the caught fish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah. Just like what? Why would anyone grab the bottle upside down other than to... Don't let him trick you into thinking the explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another reason? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there. Plain sight. How about you just say the answer in plain words?
Be hasty to deliver a verdict without unanswered questions indeed.
Okay. I mean, my thoughts is this. Like, he grabs it from the crate to pick it up. And that's why it would be upside down, because he's reaching into the crate to pull it out, right? Into the crate, pull it out. And if it's in the crate like that, one's not going to reach all the way down and grab at the bottom. They're probably just going to grab at the top.
Well, Mr. Justice.
Mr. Gavin said that the court and this case demand an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done.
Actually, the bench would get enlightened in the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints are all upside down? This.
It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair.
Excuse me, on the floor?
Yes. Now reach down and pick it up, without getting out of your chair. Ah! See, you naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck, with your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph. Every time it makes me laugh. Taken at the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of this piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottle upside down several times.
Wow. Can't believe it was that simple.
Call our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. Then you must have remembered, so you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you just switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon.
Order, order, order. What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin?
Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle. Where's your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle is proof is quite empty. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation in the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation?
Ah, yes. I have your memo about that right here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. Here's one of the bottles in question.
Are you going to dust that for fingerprints too? I'd be surprised if there were any on that but his. Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake, true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Just humor me. Mr. Wright, that bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle.
There it is! There it is! The card! The card! There it is! Whoa!
Card. There's something inside the bottle. What's this? That card. It can't be. Call the unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Miss Olga Really? Yeah, our little swindling Devochka. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to, and Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him, but the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... Telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in the piece of the testimony? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed the card before the game.
Disposed? Where?
There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. Threw the card inside the bottle. Five of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. Then, the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Oh. Yo, the Borscht Bowl! Yo, he has secret powers. Levitate and stuff. Whoa! Sorry, I just looked at my weather app and I noticed that it shows the phase of the moon. That's pretty cool. It's getting pretty cold, so I was trying to see, like,
if it was like super duper cold out, or my room just is stupid. That is all. Just one of those days. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? I don't know. Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago. My past is like my logic. Straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little tete-a-tete right.
This is insane. What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone?
Not everything's about you, Winston. I believe this time we finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin?
He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now.
I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. Did he even have a connection to the victim, did he?
None that we know of.
Mr. Wright, have you anything to add?
I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter.
About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. Odd profession, to be sure. That's all we know about him.
I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor.
Good. Mr. Wright.
Yes?
7 years. You still haven't lost your touch.
Christoph Gavin is a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer.
He's extremely talented, to be sure.
Needed two things before I could confront him. First was a place where no injustice would be tolerated. This courtroom. Second was a man who could tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo.
Me?
This is a dark time for our legal system. Twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright, our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Well, this seems like a good time to announce your verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty.
Yippee! Wahoo! Yeah! Yay!
Court is adjourned.
We did it. We saved Phoenix Wright from impending death. 428, we were so close. We were so close to 420. Thanks, Apollo. Came through, just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered Mr. Gab, the killer. Couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Ability? Yes. Sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, I wonder if he means... I have one question for the witness then. Say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is it true?
Of course it's true! Weird thing going on.
What was that, Mr. Wright? You have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer. Right. Today was full of questions without answers. Most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met the girl whose picture's in your locket. Whoa. Your daughter, right? That's right. She's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Huh? Took it off his neck the night he died. It looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, but that's perjury! You testified! You said that locket was yours! I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. Subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then, why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with the picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes The straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. Still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo. Yes? How about coming to work for me? You mean at the Write & Co. Law Offices? I mean, there's not a single intern in my generation that doesn't know about it. Can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not interning anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it, all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion, and he left the law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a law of court, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There's a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? Talking about the evidence that shouldn't have existed. The naughty magician's trick. The piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I'll bet this was the forged evidence. Okay, just because I know sometimes with these things, if you show the wrong thing, it could fuck up like a little thing later, so I want to make sure I have it right. I want to say it's the card, because that's the only thing that makes sense, you know. Okay. Yeah, naughty magician trick. Booyah.
Take that!
You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card shouldn't have been found at the crime. That card couldn't be found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. Courts can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. Fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. The verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then, you really? Yeah, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Just calling themselves an attorney, Apollo. So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters as much now, does it? Did he hit him? Sounded like he hit him. I punched him. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you'd like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. Find it packs a little more punch. Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. That's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And, at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. Find out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law. This is how my story begins. Ooh. Here we go. Fucking shit. I love it. I love it. Save my current progress. Yes, I will. Continue the next episode? No, I will not. We'll return to the main menu. Gods. That. Wait, and you can switch games. Whoa, look at this. Anime intro. Other anime intro. Wait, there's special missions in these? Okay. So there's weird last missions in these. Well, I guess those will be fine. Oh, I didn't look at anything. Okay. Okay. We got some very interesting stuff coming up. There's only 4 episodes in this one, though. I think there's only 4 episodes in the first game, too. Just wondering how everything will go. But we'll have to see. And you can turn them up there, too? That's cool. Okay. Anyways, thank you. Don't show me anything. Get that out of here. Alright. Well, I love Ace Attorney games. God, I can't wait to finish. And like, Your Turn to Die is also like, if you haven't been watching Your Turn to Die, watch Your Turn to Die. But these things, Ace Attorney just gets me so like hyped. So good. But Your Turn to Die is just like, I gotta finish that mystery. This is a bit more tame. I mean, it's wild, both like very detective-y, but like, so excited. Anyways, look at that guy. Gay. Okay. Thank you all for joining. For anyone that joined and watched. Thank you for anyone that watches later. I'm Dunzo. So, good night, good morning, and goodbye.